Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at 4210 Southeast Bybee Boulevard here in Portland. Located in the basement of the home, we're going through a backflow valve. This appears to be 3-inch ABS. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running. Off we go. Kind of a bummer, but I can see that someone has put a clean out in right in front of this. That thing kind of at the left-hand side of the screen, now on the right side, that's a clean out that someone concreted over the top of. Anywho, at least you have a backflow valve to go through. And now we're making a Y connection here onto cast iron. Typically this era of home will have 4-inch cast iron. I don't get a standard view there of the transition, so I can easily tell visually. So I'm going to write it up as 3-inch. It might be 4-inch. Normally the transitions are in a dead straight line. It's very obvious when there is a diameter change. In this case, it's hard to tell. And we may have another clean out access at the front of the home here that may have been covered up. There's another pipe lying into the top of the sewer line there. This backflow valve does a decent job of being a clean out. Now the line transitions here over to concrete pipe. Appeared to be 6-inch diameter pipe there. Getting some debris back there collecting in the flow line. And part of that is in part the flow line of the concrete here is getting kind of rough. Stuff has a harder time flowing across that. Transitioning here over to PVC pipe. And now to clay pipe. I call these Franken lines. They're made out of about every pipe material out there. And this appears to be our main lateral connection at 62 feet. Now we're going to go try and locate this while the pipe drains out. We'll have a better view of everything when we come back. I located the camera head successfully. The line terminates at the main out on Southeast Bybee Boulevard. The clay pipe there is actually in fairly good condition here. Clay does not really wear out over time. It has the same fragility almost as concrete does, and it has a lot of pipe joints that can separate, but the stuff doesn't wear out. So unlike concrete, which we'll see here in a moment, it becomes very, very rough over time, clay does not have that same problem. Now we do have a belly here in the sewer line in the PVC pipe. I'm going to locate where this starts at. This may still be in the roadway, and if we're in Multnomah County, this is a city responsibility. Okay, we do have a belly in the line. This is at the curb, and this all appears to be in city responsibility here. It's all from the curb out into the roadway. Now, if you just caught that here, I think I had the recorder going. I saw a worm disappear into that spot there. And I stopped earlier on the way out to take a look, because there was another earthworm. That joint is definitely opened up to the ground there. If worms are crawling through it, sewage can feasibly escape, and so can groundwater and whatnot come into the sewer line there. That joint is also much weaker to things like root intrusions at this point, which this is not uncommon stuff when you have a line of this age. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to push back out to the street curb, and I'm just going to put some markings down. All right, just out from the curb here, we are at, my locator keeps bouncing between 8 and 9 feet deep. And definitely an open joint here at 41 feet. And a line of this age, this is not one that I would recommend spot repairing anymore. It's far too old in my opinion to mess around with that. It's a waste of time and money to do any of that. And the concrete at a lot of these pipe joints looks like it's getting close. The joints are the first spots often to wear out. But like right there, if you kind of look at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you've got wear going right through the concrete there into that joint. Many of these joints are likely open to the ground. When it's this time of year, it's a little harder to tell because we don't have heavy rainstorms where the water seeps in, but we have earthworms. There's another joint here that is also separated. And you've got another earthworm in the pipe right there in the flow line. And those little guys typically don't travel that terribly far from the joint they come in through. But you've got debris that's kind of sticking all over the place, and it's not traveling to the line well, and part of that's because the concrete pipe is very rough. You may also be losing some sewage through some of those joints. Now you've got a tie-in here, it looks like, on the top left-hand corner of the screen. I'll back up a little bit so you can see it. That right there appears to just be a storm drain connection. It's a small 3-inch tie-in. Almost every party line out there will be a 6-inch Y connection that comes in a full diameter Y connection. That does not appear to be a sewer line connecting in there. Anyway, because of the condition of the concrete here, I would recommend a full update to it. I'll go back out and put a marking right here. The concrete, by and large, though, except for this teeny tiny bit of standing water right here, which is not concerning at all. This is something you could do by epoxy liner if you wanted to. This would be a pretty good candidate for it, which is a trenchless repair. So just keep it in mind or look into it. However it's done, I recommend the line be updated. From at least here at about 20 feet out to the street curb, which is at 46 feet. And then we'll see how the cast iron looks as we come back. Alright, so this spot here is underneath the front deck. I can't locate and get an accurate depth for it because I'm locating through a deck and I can't paint people's decks up. So I put a marking just in front of it where the line starts to come out from underneath it. And depth-wise, I'm getting around 10 feet, but I'm locating through a deck with a foot or two of dead space between that and the ground. Now right here in the flow line, you've got some fairly heavy pitting going on. It doesn't, the line hasn't worn through yet, but that spot there is concerning. You've got pitting throughout a lot of the cast iron. That's what will happen slowly but surely over time. This spot in particular is a lot heavier, especially right here. You may have a toilet or something tying in here, and anytime you have a vertical drop like that, the bottom of stack where the lines 90 and stuff are always the first spots to wear out. It looks like you have a hole that's starting to form there, you can see in the flow line. So this stuff too, and cast iron ages fairly consistently. Certain spots will wear out before others, but again, because of the age of this house and the pipe materials, in my opinion, doing spot repairs at this point, it just doesn't make much sense to me. Because you're going to be doing repairs on the rest of it in the not too distant future. So because I'm seeing some heavy pitting there in the cast iron, what I'd also recommend is updating the cast iron under the floor. And this is also, the only hard part here, because the way that the line's configured, I can't guarantee what that pipe diameter is. I also can't really see an exposed stack down here to go off of. All I have to go off of right now is a 3-inch ABS backflow valve. So if that's 4-inch cast iron though, you could also update that trenchlessly if you wanted to. Avoid saw cutting the floor. Now again, if no repairs are done, keep an eye on the sewer line. I would rescope it every year or two to keep an eye on it, make sure things aren't getting out of hand. But I would recommend, because of the condition of the cast iron and the concrete, I'd recommend both the interior cast iron and exterior concrete pipe, all that be updated. And ideally at one time. It's more cost effective to do it that way, for one thing. At this time, though, the line is functioning. It is not functioning as it should. You've got open joints there that are likely letting some sewage escape. Groundwater is very likely coming in through those during the rainy season. So I would update that sooner rather than later. I've got markings at the start and end of the concrete section. Front, the interior pipe here, I don't have anything I can mark the floor with that's not going to be semi-permanent. After any repairs are done, I highly recommend rescoping the sewer line to check the work.